Hey guys, well, we're here. We're live. Sorry, we were just chatting behind the scenes, talking about everything that's going on the planet. Welcome. We've got a number of, well, we've had some technical issues with our previous guest, but it's fine because we've got a lot going on, and we will have them joining us later. So just bear with me. We're going to start in a minute, and my guests are. I'm going to actually got one of them is Heather joining us. Perfect. I've got two guests here, three actually. I've got Michelle Jewsbury. Michelle is an international philanthropist, speaker, author, and coach. She founded Unsilenced Voices that encourages victims of domestic violence to break free. I've got Krystylle Richardson, who's an international speaker, leadership and mindset accountability coach. Krystylle loves seeing people become better versions of themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually. And then I believe we have Heather. Heather?
Yes, hello.
Hey, yeah, you made it.
Connected. How beautiful. Yeah.
Great. And we've got Heather Evans here. Heather is an ICF certified coach, mentor, and trainer in emotional intelligence. And she offers workshops and integrates psychology, communications, and brain science. So listen, thank you so much. You know what? This has been beautiful for me because I've been doing all these great panels with speakers since this morning, one after the other. I've managed to squeeze 2 bites of a sandwich in between and a sip of water. But I'm delighted and excited. And you know what? What I love about it is they're mainly women. So, you know, guys, we need to step up. Because you know what's happening, and I think it's the best thing that can happen is women are coming forward and they're showing us the way. So I love the energy. Thank you for the three of you being here today.
Yeah, a pleasure.
So I was just talking with Michelle, who she's like Willie Fox. Okay, she's been traveling around the world. She was in Sierra Leone, stuck there. She's seen more airports than any pilots that works for American Airlines. So she's been all over the place, stuck all over the world. But here she is. She's managed to get back to LA. So welcome, Michelle.
Appreciate it.
So listen, let's start. So basically the topic is obviously about helping people, you know, through these challenging times, but also, you know, kind of we're sharing our own experiences because, as I've been saying before, us coaches, trainers, therapists, you know, we are human beings too. We have families, we have relationships. We're obviously concerned about the new reality. So I wanted to see kind of how it's impacted you and what are you doing differently? How are you going to take advantage of this time, this downtime to either recreate, tweak, or change a lot of the things that you were doing before? Let's start with you, Krystylle.
Yeah, so first I just want to say hello to everybody and just welcome everybody to this experience. Bernardo, thank you so much for allowing us to have this time to share. And for me, there are some things that have changed, but really a lot has actually remained the same. I've always tried to see what I could do to help others, not just from a coaching perspective, but we have a nonprofit where we help the homeless, we help senior citizens, we help those who are in need get what they need. So matching the need with the abundance. And so it's even needed more now, obviously, because of there being lack from a lot of perspectives. So we've basically upped our game related to that and engaged more teams to be able to go out on the streets and get items that are needed, because some of my drivers, some of my main people are senior citizens and they can't be out right now. And so we have had to make some changes from that regard. And just in general though, one of the main things that I feel that we can do during this time is really help one another to dig deep. And to dig even deeper, because you learn a lot about people during times like this, right? And you learn a lot about yourself. And so if we can just really dig deep and really embrace who we are and show the world that, you know, we are leaders, we are strong, we are overcomers, and help everyone else have that same mentality, then we can do a lot more together.
Absolutely. And I was saying this before, I don't think there's a better time, you know, if well-being has been an ongoing industry and is a place where obviously people are shifting to, because, you know, we understand the importance of taking care of ourselves in every aspect of our lives. You know, I think it's only the beginning now. I think there's never been a better time to be an inspirational speaker, coach, you know, trainer, therapist. You know, there's never been a better time, and it's never been need it. So for those of you that are kind of like still transitioning, still thinking about, I'd like to do something with a bit more meaning. I'd like to write a book. I'd like to help others. Take action. This is your time. This is the time when you can really stop procrastinating and blaming the world and just get on with it and start writing it, start doing it, and start making it happen. So completely agree. Michelle, you do some great, well, you've been doing some great work with, with what you specialize in, and kind of like, Sarah Davison, who shared a video message before, was saying, for example, kind of like how the divorces have increased dramatically in China after, 4 or 5 weeks living with your partner. But, these are challenging times for relationships as well. And obviously, you provide a lot of expertise, for women, to women and men to be able to come and stand out. What's your thoughts regarding this new reality that we have now of living together and being, with your other half, whatever that may mean?
Yeah, there's two aspects to this. So to piggyback off of what Krystylle was saying, collaboration is key. And if you're with a partner who is moving forward and, being innovative and creating new ideas and finishing his or her book and really wanting to excel their life, then you're in a great position. But what we're seeing right now is the domestic violence rate is actually increasing because of the isolation, because you have to stay inside with your partner. And if you're already in an abusive relationship, these forced quarantines are actually very detrimental to a lot of victims facing domestic violence and sexual abuse. That includes child abuse as well. So what we want to do is give hope. What we're doing on Unsilenced Voices pages is we are advocating, of course, against domestic violence, but we're also giving our customers, our clients, our viewers a way to get help. So there's the National Domestic Violence Hotline that they can access. They can contact us and we can reach out. There's, of course, the police. And then we work a lot internationally. So what we've seen internationally is in Ghana and Sierra Leone, coronavirus hasn't hit hard yet. They have a couple of cases here and there, but nothing big. And as soon as it hits there, it's going to be education about being able to isolate yourself and washing your hands, but being able to treat each other with respect and to collaborate as a community, because we are a global community now. It is not just one country versus the other country. We have to work together because this is going to impact us worldwide.
Absolutely. Well, listen, great advice there. And I think, one of the things that, we were talking before was that about communication and asking for help. I think, if anything, you should all know in whatever it is that you need help with, or you want to enhance your life, or you want to expand. This is one of the beauties, I think, of this industry, is that everyone is very generous with their time. Kind of Michelle would give you that time, Krystylle would, Heather would, and I think anyone and everyone that's here that does and believe in the same kind of ideas, the same concept of helping others. But this is a time when I think, humanity is really starting to shine as far as connecting. And as you said, like, we're all interlinked anyway. It's not a problem of China now all of a sudden. And there's some great stories. I was reading about the guy from Alibaba, who literally, has been shipping planes with 500,000 masks and all sorts of medical equipment to Spain, to Japan, to Korea. Now he's sending it to Africa, and all these big brands and companies and individuals doing some great work. So it's a time for us to shine. It's really a time for us to step up. So again, those of you that are kind of holding back there, don't feel, this is a time when you need to help others. It's not about you. It's about what difference you can make. Heather, how and what are you doing? What are the common denominators that you're finding with people, which I assume, I'm not, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What I'm saying is, obviously there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of scare, and a lot of people might not be able to see, kind of like, I get fascinated with someone, sending about, oh, well, we postponed the expo till August now. Confirmed 7th and 8th of August, we'll be back. And someone says, oh, I don't believe the planes will be flying then. Excuse me? They think the world is finished. It hasn't. What's your thoughts?
Well, a lot of the work that I do is in the area of leadership. And, the conversation that I've been having a lot recently with clients and in forums like this is really about how we are, what is leadership? Leadership is acknowledging that you're not an island, that your mindset, your behavior, and your choices affect your environment and the world all around you. So the work I do is in how do we shift from the weakest, lowest form of human consciousness to the highest, the higher mind, if you will. And what I'm really seeing right now is there's a lot of anxiety around just the impulse that comes up. I'm afraid is an impulse, right? It's a reasonable, dignified response. So is anger. So is grief. Some people are losing their lives. They're losing their jobs. And you know what I'm just working with, and my offering to the world, in a sense, from a spirit of service, is in how can we see the dignity in anger, fear, grief, but use it as a pathway to the higher mind. So for instance, the lower mind's response to any of those kinds of emotions, something we might consider, shadow emotion, is emotional reactivity. It's attack, blame, violence. It's the things that Michelle was talking about, right? It's very serious. Our inability or unwillingness to shift from the low end of human consciousness. So, the goal is to offer to the world another way of being. What is fear? It can be it's an experience, but when you meet it with love, it can be a pathway to a higher minded response. So fear down here at the low mind might be attack, blame, judgment, finger pointing, violence. At the higher mind, it is an act of courage. What's an act of courage for me here? It's the using the power of and. I'm afraid, and what's a more creative solution here for me? What's one action I could take that would have some value and meaning? Same with anger. Anger can be down at the low mind. It's extremely dangerous. It ruins relationships and way beyond that. So you shift to the higher mind and it's problem solving. Anger is an invitation. I'm angry. Okay, there's a problem here. That's good. Let me become aware of it and shift into how can I be resilient? How can I problem solve? How can I work with my environment and others to get to a place that's higher minded? And same with grief. Grief can be isolating and contracting emotionally, or it can be an invitation if we're willing, if we step into a leadership position, a personal leadership position, to reach out, to create connectivity, to be willing to be vulnerable and to share grief in a sense, right? So it's really for me about where are we looking, where are we accessing the human experience of emotion, and that we always have two minds that are available to us. So which one are we choosing?
Absolutely, and I think a lot of the challenges that people have is by not necessarily knowing, aware of their internal dialogue. I think a lot of the times people aren't aware of what they're saying or what they're thinking, and they that they're focusing on unfortunately being negative. So reading a lot of negative news and complaining and not asking themselves the right questions, can obviously take them there. So Krystylle, you in particular, what is it that you're doing now that can help people really focus on using their time wisely? Because I've been sharing this obviously throughout the different panels, is that this is not a weekend at home. Okay, we're talking about quite a few weekends, and as much as we want to stay at home sometimes, this is it's going to become challenging for a lot of people. So what's your advice on what to do in order to kind of make sure that we compartmentalize time to do specific things with the objective of achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve or whatever the goal is? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so for me, I've been focusing on the word intention. the word intention. So focusing on your intention. And everyone has different, a number of days that they put towards creating new habits, but it looks like we have a little bit of time right now to start some new habits if we don't have them already in our lives, whether it's the 66 days that it takes or what have you. And so for me, focusing on the intention of being the best version of ourselves. And so how do you do that? There's a number of different tools and tricks and different things that people have as part of what they have in their books and my books and what we do as coaches. But I've really been trying to focus my various radio shows and private groups on looking at how we stay motivated as opposed to in the state of overwhelm, stay in the state of motivation. And so we can do that by, again, if we have not developed the habit of gratitude, of prayer, of affirmations, mindfulness, anything that it is that can get you into a state of mind that helps you to thrive. And so I've really been trying to work with people personally on one-on-one calls and just friends, associates, as well as in my groups, Facebook groups and other, to really be, have that intention. And so how do you do that? For me, it's pencil and paper. I'm 55 years old. I still kind of just really prefer the pencil and paper as opposed to electronics from this perspective, because when you write it in your own handwriting related to what you're going to be intentional about, what are you grateful for? What are your prayers? What are you doing related to mindfulness to be aware of what's going on right here? Because so many people are just caught up in overwhelm where you can just take a step back and then jump into your greatness and jump into those things that are good in your life, but you have to do it with intention.
Yeah, and I think, and that's great advice, and I think a lot of it is down to that, but you know, kind of in making sure that whatever it is that you're doing, I think at this time is to be appreciative and understanding and loving and contributing and solution driven. You know, I'm still so surprised to see a lot of people that still have negative attitudes, you know, and you see that in an email, you know, kind of with love, you know, we've had the event and, you know, well, I postponed the event literally 8-10 days before because I could see it coming, and I had to make the decision that I thought was wise and right for all of us, because I had the responsibility of 11,000 people and 150 speakers, and I wanted to be in control of our own destiny instead of being dictated by what we now see as, hey, this is the reality, we're on lockdown. So, you know, I still get messages from people saying you canceled the event and this and that. And I just, you know, say global pandemic, you know, kind of like, you know, if you don't chill out now, when are you going to chill out? Because I mean, some people are still so wound up, you know, where they're still trying to find people to blame. They're still trying to find people to hate. This is the time to come together. This is the time, you know, I've got these girls that I work with, and it is that, and with us, and I'm saying with us, with you, you know, my speakers and people that are contributing towards the expo and the best you, it's #1team. You know, it's, we all have to be working together here now, you know, and it really is about contributing and coming from a place of love. And I'm just telling you, boys and girls, those of you that are still very wound up, you need to calm down, because you're going to be stuck at home for a long time with your own thoughts and with your own self. And trust me, you don't want to go there. Okay. So you're going to be one of the ones that you might find people disconnecting you from the contact list on your phone. So maybe there's a message there. Michelle, what's next? What are you planning in doing in this time to kick some ass now that you've been traveling all over the world? And how are you going to kick some ass between now and the expo?
Well, to piggyback off of what you were saying, Bernardo, I ended up meeting a couple at the airport in London. I mean, I had 20 hours there or something like that. And this couple, we ended up talking about a possible collaboration with Unsilenced Voices, where we could also move into the Gambia and move into other regions in Africa. But what I really took from that conversation is this is a time to quiet your mind. This is a time for innovation and creativity, and to figure out, okay, I am not going to burn out. I'm going to take some deep breaths, spend some time with myself, and really decide what it is that I want to do. And we teach a 5-step process to overcome obstacles. And this is a huge obstacle or barrier for some people. What I'm doing in response to this is I'm starting to journal. So I'm going to make sure that I put my thoughts onto paper. So if I have any burnout happening, then I can definitely get that, like Krystylle said, onto paper.
Krystylle is nodding her head there. She's agreeing with you on paper. She likes that.
And I'm actually finishing my second book. So I will have my second book, Overcoming Obstacles, done and published no later than November. It's probably going to be way sooner than that since we have so much time on our hands. And then from there, it's just reaching out and making sure that the people who are experiencing obstacles, stress, overwhelm, that I'm accessible to them, that I am able to coach them through this process, because our world is changing, if we like it or not. This is just the beginning of what this pandemic is going to do to us. And then, you know, fast forward 4 or 5 months from now, how are you going to change your life in a positive way based on the experiences that you've had during the time we are in now? So how are you going to turn these adversities into assets? So I'm really going to focus on helping clients and customers determine what that looks like for them. And then for me, it's, you know, writing that book, putting out more lives, being on more summits like this, virtual summits, because this is where the world's going.
Absolutely. That's where it's going. And look, it's a new reality. It's there now. And I think adapting is key, you know, and that's been the key for evolution, as has been stated, is those that adapt quicker are the ones that survive. But I do believe, you know, kind of, we were sharing this in one of the panels previously, that what if, you know, from where we are now, you know, this new reality of well-being, humanity, you know, becomes something that is so phenomenal that we can't even conceive, you know, and I believe it to be true. I think this is a new beginning of a new beginning. And I really believe that there's so much wisdom and knowledge that is going to be transformed and created now in this downtime, that's just going to have a phenomenal ripple effect and going to definitely help, you know, and it's needed. And that's kind of what I love about what I do, is that I think, you know, working with people that are there to help and inspire others is just a beautiful job. And I know there's a lot of people that want help and a lot of people struggle. But anyway, this is why we do this. This is why we create this. So Heather, you were scheduled obviously to the Best You Expo. Well, all of you have been really fantastic in helping us, supporting us in the process of promoting the Expo. And then now I'm going to give you new banners to say, hey, we're coming back. And now we're speaking again. So we'll all be back. So I want to thank you all for that. So what are you, you know, what were you going to be sharing at the Expo? And if anything, has it changed, you know, with what you will be sharing kind of moving forward?
Well, I was going to be talking about 5 tips to really stepping into your strongest self. So looking at empowerment versus disempowerment. And for me, in the work that I do, how that's actually a language-based system, disempowered language, because even the thought system is a language-based system. So, you know, disempowered language versus empowered language, and some of the inner choices and outer choices that we can make to shift into higher levels of that higher mind, higher levels of leadership, of consciousness, because leadership isn't a title, it's a way of being and relating to the world. So I'll still be talking about that because it's the work that just lights me up. You know, I feel very connected to that way of being, and it's a practice in my own life. And one of the things that I was going to be sharing, I'm actually going to share now, is there's a 3-step process to just noticing when we're in the low mind versus the high mind. Again, low mind is reactivity, it's attack, blame, judgment. Higher mind, that strongest part of ourselves, is curious. It's a learning orientation. So how do we shift between those two, what feel like extremes, but really are just a part of the human experience, is something I call AIR. It's an acronym. So it's like just breathing in air. It's becoming aware of my impulse and choosing a response that serves me. So it's becoming aware of what my impulsive reactivity is and mining that gap before I respond. It's very much around the work of Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning.
We were
And
talking about that book.
Yeah, right. So powerful. So so just really looking at that gap, and that space is where our higher mind is. Just getting a little bit of distance from our reactivity and giving ourselves the ability to really exercise that highest capability that we all have within, which is to make stronger choices. So in addition to that work that I was planning to speak about, I'm also going to be offering between now and the expo a coaching journey that anyone who's listening in who mentions the best you gets automatically 25% off. It's kind of a heart gift for anyone really interested in this work. I'm very grateful.
I just said the best you. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. So what is it you're sharing?
So it's a 3-month coaching journey that is called You Are the Antidote. And it's all about how really any upset, we're the antidote to that upset. Any state of dis-ease, the solution, the antidote to that is within us. We just need to be often coached and taught and mentored and trained to find that, that antidote to the dis-ease. So that's professionally. Personally, I'm also doing a couple things. I'm here in California. You know, governor said yesterday we are to stay in home. And so I am offering to my friends and family and anyone interested in this might be a cool idea. I'm going to open my Zoom room and I'm calling it Open House, Open Heart. So we can't walk out and hug each other, and I'm a hugger, so this is getting to me. But you know, we're going to do a disco party. You know, we're going to share some poetry. We're going to share fear, grief, anger, and any other emotion if we want. So we're going to just honor the whole human experience. And also, my holistic healer shared this with me. It's rose water. But what he was saying, so personally, what else am I doing? Is rose water is an antiviral. I didn't know that. I had some in my home. I hope that you do, right? But basically, you know, it's like misting rose water. Why? It's an antiviral, and also the olfactory system as we breathe in, and it shifts the biochemistry into an orientation of calm. So from chaos to calm.
I love that. I love the rose water. Thank you so much. Well, I've just invited TR Garland's here with us now. TR was supposed to come in a few minutes ago. TR, thank you for waiting there patiently. Ladies, you're more than welcome to stay with us. I want to thank you. I'm going to be chatting to TR, but obviously jump in at any time if you want to stay. And if you need to leave, obviously leave. There's no problem. I want to thank you all anyway already for your great energy, your love, your support, the great work that you do. And for being part of this community, which for me, I mean, this is just, if anything, it's just got me started, you know, kind of like, I'm just like, you can't even imagine where we're going to go with this. So I'm very excited about the new opportunities. So TR, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm assuming, yep, my audio seems to be working okay. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yeah, we can.
I can hear you.
I'm excited. I've been sitting in the green room listening to all you lovely ladies talking about the impact, you know, that you have been making in the world and that you're prepared to make in the foreseeable future. And I just think it's fantastic to ride in on the wind, on the momentum that all you ladies have already created. Absolutely. So thank you for going before me, and Bernardo, thank you for inviting me here today.
They've left some great energy, TR. And funny enough, what you were saying before, Heather, someone was telling me that their friends are now meeting on Zoom to have dinner together, or Skype, which is super cool. So let me introduce quickly TR. He's a best-selling author and Wall Street Journal award winner. He focuses on helping leaders, change makers, and purpose-driven professionals turn their message into a movement. So we were talking TR. I spoke to TR a couple of times. He was helping us and supporting us to create awareness around the expo. He was speaking at the expo. He will be speaking at the expo in August. So TR, what's your thoughts regarding this? You know, what's going on now, and the challenges that either the entrepreneurs or the individuals working at home, you know, and what's the best, you know, what's your best tips in how to deal with the challenges we've got right now?
Well, thank you for asking a very relevant question. Because I've been watching, the guests, and they've been speaking a lot about mindset. What I'd like to do, in the time that we've been allotted today, is transition from mindset into skill set. Prior to doing so, I want to acknowledge that the first thing that everybody watching this needs to focus on is focus on the safety of the family. Right? Focus on the immediate safety of your loved ones, of your family. And once you've got that safety of your loved ones and your family squared away, it is time to invest, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to begin thinking about the changes that are going to be happening in the marketplace, the immediate changes that are going to be happening in how service-based professionals conduct their networking efforts, how service-based professionals conduct their prospecting efforts, how service-based professionals find new partners to promote for them, and how service-based professionals find new platforms. Like everybody's being forced to Zoom and go to webinar. And remarkably so, I'm confident that everybody here has also probably logged into their LinkedIn profile for the first time in a long, long time. And that's what I'd like to draw everybody's attention to today, which is, the guests prior to me covered mindset pretty darn well. And what I want to do is help people understand what they can do today, in order to replace the connections that they were making in person. So does that sound like a plan, Bernardo?
That sounds like a great plan to me.
Excellent, excellent. So I've been interviewed multiple times in the last couple of weeks about this sudden flood to online networking, about this sudden flood to LinkedIn. And the way that because I've been allotted a specific amount of time, the way that I'd like to start off is really by saying, in order to succeed on LinkedIn, we still must focus on the mindset. In order to succeed on LinkedIn, we must focus on the mindset first, and then we must focus on the skill set. And, in our short 10 or 15 minutes that we have left, I'm going to cover both mindset and skill set as it relates to LinkedIn. So I'm going to encourage you, Bernardo, and Heather, and Krystylle, and Michelle, and all of the Best You attendees that are watching this right now, in order to get different results on LinkedIn, I'm going to encourage you to adopt a different mindset. And that mindset is, don't think of LinkedIn as social media. Do not think of LinkedIn as social media. I'll even go as far as saying, don't think of LinkedIn as technology. If you think of LinkedIn as social media, and if you think of LinkedIn as technology, I believe that those are ingredients for not finding the best success on LinkedIn. I'm going to encourage everybody to adopt this mindset that LinkedIn is a convention center, and they are hosting a trade show. That trade show is happening every single day, and there's 650 million professionals that are walking up and down the aisles of this trade show daily. And when you begin to adopt this mindset that LinkedIn is a trade show, and you can also understand that your LinkedIn profile shouldn't be thought of as a profile. Think of your LinkedIn profile as your free trade show booth. LinkedIn's gifted you a free trade show booth. So what do you do when you typically invest in a trade show and when you're given a trade show booth? Well, step number one is you figure out, how are you going to remodel your trade show booth, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to lay that red carpet down on the floor, the cold concrete floor? Are you going to have a color branded skirt on the table? Are you going to have banners behind the table that captivate someone's attention that's walking up and down the aisle and looks and says, oh, I find that interesting? And are you going to put brochures on that table that matches your company's corporate branding so that when they step inside your trade show booth, you can keep them there? So this is a mindset shift that I'm going to encourage everybody to make first. Remodel your trade show booth. Next step that I want to introduce is then you can focus on driving highly targeted traffic to that trade show booth. And then the third step in a 3-step success sequence is going to be communicating with people that stop by your trade show booth. So step number 1 is remodel that trade show booth. Step number 2 is learn the features and functionality, some of them that are hidden, Bernardo, that many people don't know about. Learn the features and functionality of LinkedIn to drive highly targeted traffic to your trade show booth. And then number 3, how can you enter into friendly conversations with them and not feel salesy and not feel icky, like I'm confident many of us on this call right now have been the recipient of, right? Heather, Krystylle, Michelle, Bernardo, have you been the recipient of some pretty icky messages online lately?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, of course, we all have. So be mindful, remodel your trade show booth, drive highly targeted traffic to it, and then make sure that you have conscious conversations with them. What I'd like to do is encourage people to follow another 3-step success sequence that I'm going to introduce you to right now that will help you make sure that you maintain your reputation while you're still trying to acquire business. And that 3-step success sequence is step number 1, be visible. Step number 1, be visible. Step number 2, be vocal. Step number 2 is be vocal. And step number 3 is be valuable. Be visible, be vocal, and be valuable. Now, please allow me to explain a little bit more about what the definition, what I consider the definition of each one of those steps to be. So being visible is people know who you are. Being vocal is people know what you do. And being valuable is proving to people that you care. Try your best in this time of uncertainty where people are holding on to fear, and rightfully so. Do your best to show up and be conscious and considerate of their situation and be valuable to them. When you include step number 3 into your sequence, you're going to dramatically increase the chances of the law of reciprocity working in your favor. So now that I've got a pause point here, Bernardo, would you care to interject about anything that I've introduced so far, or do you have any questions, or would you like me to elaborate?
Kind of what I think obviously, you know, as we've been sharing kind of throughout the day this morning, is about really looking at what we can do in this downtime in order to kind of like, you know, well, it might be, you know, checking our content, cleaning our phone, you know, going through photographs. Obviously, I appreciate, especially for people that are thinking in transitioning, I think obviously I appreciate the importance and the value of LinkedIn and having, you know, a good profile and connecting and using it. But also for those people that are thinking or maybe haven't used LinkedIn for business. So look, what are your thoughts then? Because I've only got a couple of minutes here, and
Sure.
we have to bring on another couple of guests. So what are your thoughts then regarding someone in particular who is thinking particularly in transitioning into a new career, and what are the, just give me 3 tips on what they can do in order to kind of use LinkedIn to help them get there.
Well, I believe that I've already begun to lay out the principles, right? The 3-step success sequence is remodel the trade show booth. Step number 2, drive highly targeted traffic to it. And step number 3, make sure that you've got the appropriate communication going on. I think the best way to answer your question and add as much value is to share with people the goal when you remodel your LinkedIn profile is to cause the viewer to make micro commitments in the form of 3 seconds longer, 30 seconds longer, and 3 minutes longer. It's not to have, for lack of a better word, verbal diarrhea and just or throw up on people with anything that you can help them with. It's to cause the viewer to make micro commitments. And what I've done here is I would like to introduce to your listeners and viewers the 3 core components that they can begin to focus on with the front door to their trade show booth. The 3 core components that will compel people to stay on your LinkedIn profile longer is going to be your custom profile picture, your custom background, and your custom headline. Those are the 3 core components that show up more frequently in LinkedIn search results, in the little search snapshots. So when you focus on remodeling those components, the front door to your trade show booth, you're actually going to captivate people's attention more. And so I've created something called the psychographic scripting system. The psychographic scripting system is going to help everybody in the Best You community understand how to carefully craft the correct vocabulary and visuals and apply that to their LinkedIn custom background so that they captivate people's attention, keep their attention, and compel them into action. And I'll quickly run through these, Bernardo, and then I'll pass the mic on over to you to begin to wrap it up. If you look at key section number 1 on the left-hand side of your screen, it's called the Authority Accelerators section. If you look at key section number 2, smack dab in the middle, it's called the Psychographic Spotlight. And then if you look at key section number 3, it's called the Subconscious Spotlight. When you break your custom background, your LinkedIn background, down into these 3 core components, these sections, it will help you maximize the valuable real estate that LinkedIn has gifted you. Authority Accelerators is a place to put an image that will help you climb the credibility ladder with your viewer. Key section number 2 is my preference. Following the psychographic scripting system, which is my proprietary process, is have an open-ended question that shines a light on the primary pain of your ideal audience. Shine a light on the primary pain of your ideal audience and have it be an open-ended question so it bypasses the conscious, goes into the subconscious, and they're forced to make a micro commitment. And then last but not least is on the right-hand side, key section number 3, which is the subconscious spotlight. And the definition of the subconscious spotlight is to use an image that conveys and edifies and reinforces the primary pain that you introduced with key section number 2. So Authority Accelerators, Psychographic Spotlight, Subconscious Spotlight is the best way that you all, and I see Krystylle there, she's nodding her head, so, and Heather and Michelle, I encourage you and Bernardo and your Best You community, everybody's flooding to LinkedIn now, and you must captivate people's attention, keep their attention, and compel them into action. And the proven proprietary process that'll help you do it is this.
Perfect, TR, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I've got people lined up and I've got another 2 that are starting literally in 3 minutes. TR, thank you so much for sharing. These are great, valuable tips for people to be able to improve their profile on LinkedIn. And I understand the value of LinkedIn. I understand for those of you that coaches, trainers, therapists, marketers, entrepreneurs, in being able to transition is something that's very important. So what I wanted to do now is thank you all. Thank you, Krystylle. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, TR. Michael, you're here with us. I want to thank you all for being here, and I hope to join and connect with you soon. Remember, new dates for the Best You Expo is happening on the 7th and 8th of August. Okay.
Thank you for your leadership, Bernardo. Thank you. It's just a total. What you're doing is really a gift. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. TR, thank you so much. Bye. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all.
Thank you,
Hey,
Bernardo.
Michael.
Thank you.
I know a lot of you don't know Michael, so Michael D. Butler is in the house. Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. So, Michael, how are you? And where are you? Apart from in a car, you're not quarantined in a car, are you, Michael?
No. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay, Bernardo?
We can. It's a little bit echoey, but we can hear you okay.
Well, I just want to applaud you, and you're a Superman. And we're very excited about Dallas, Texas in October 23, 24. That was great information, TR. Thank you. TR is awesome. So just very excited. I think in times like this, Bernardo, it's all about distribution and connecting with people. And that's what you're doing on this webinar. You're creating these awesome relationships. You're highlighting these relationships that we've had, some of us for years, but we're strengthening these relationships. We're taking these relationships deeper. There's never been a better time to launch something new than right now, when everybody is contracted in fear, now I believe is the best time to take massive action. And maybe some listeners aren't in the position that Warren Buffett is in, but follow his advice. He's buying companies now. And had we all invested in Zoom 1 week ago, put $1,000 in Zoom last week, in 7 days we would have made $70,000. And Zoom is very happy right now and is exploding, because all of my meetings like this, your meeting this week, everything is on Zoom. So I think we can look at this as an opportunity, and I applaud you for giving more value. You are always overdue. And yeah.
Thank you, Michael. And the reason, I mean, there's many reasons I wanted Michael to come on is, well, pretty much everyone knows Michael, but, you know, he's got his company called Beyond Publishing. And what he does is he obviously has and helps all sorts of people, you know, to get those books out there, you know, for them to become a reality, from an idea to, you know, a best-selling book in Amazon or wherever it may be. And obviously we're talking about taking advantage of this downtime, Michael, and I'm sure you've experienced that so many times, where you have seen the potential that people have, you know, to create something that is truly inspirational, that they aren't necessarily putting out there. And a lot of people, with the challenges and difficulties or the concerns they have in publishing or writing a book, you know, and at the end of the day, it is very doable. And if it is doable, this is the most doable time in history, because with a bit of luck, we won't have another pandemic for another 100 years. So this is the best time to get the book down, isn't it?
Well, 9 months from now, there's going to be a baby boom. And somebody on my Facebook laughingly said they're going to be called the Coronials, because everybody's home making babies. And for those of us who are single, if we're not creating babies, we can create new companies, create new books, create new ideas that can change the world. So I think if you're not making babies, or even if you are making babies, especially if you're making babies, throw your best ideas out to the world. Now is the time. 90 days from now and 180 days from now, we're going to know who contracted in fear and who reacted in faith and put out content. And I love what you said about providing value, giving things away for free, looking around us and seeing who we can help and mentor. I know there's a lot of nonprofits here. I see Michelle Jewsbury. She's got a great nonprofit, Unsilenced Voices. She pays it forward so often with so many people. She's changing lives all over the planet. Find a startup where you as a mentor, I as a mentor, can invest. And that's what I love about what you're doing, Bernardo. You're paying it forward, and you're mentoring others, and you're inspiring us all. And I think 90 days from now, we're going to have a lot of announcements, happy announcements of new babies, new books, and new companies.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. The thing is, this is a time where you can stay at home, you can stay in fear, or you can start really focusing on what you can take advantage, what you can do in these times. So where do you see, because again, I've seen so many people that have phenomenal talent, expertise, and they're scared of writing the book. Michael, explain, because it is an easy process, and one that, you know, someone like you and your company and what you do is you hold people's hands, you take them through the whole process of getting a book published. But give us some kind of guidelines or some success stories, or some of the people, 2 or 3 of the people that you work with, that you kind of saw something, or they saw something, and you've helped them make it become a reality, and obviously also in a relatively short period of time.
Not everybody should write a book, Bernardo.
I agree.
I'm going to give a free 30-minute consultation, a book consult, to any of your viewers, and I'll put in the chat, meetmichaeld.com is my calendar, and there we can talk about your book and see if there's real market value for your book, and where we could sell your book, what channels we could sell into. a lot of people thought the internet killed publishing, but readership is up globally, and just like Netflix is going to be a great stock these next 90 days, a lot of people are going to read a lot of books. And so let's decide if your book's got market viability. Let's do a book consult. Maybe you need a ghostwriter, and we're going to help you write the book backwards and identify who's the target market and what the end game is. What business are you going to build around that book? Let's do a book consult. Maybe you need a ghostwriter.
Sorry, I lost you there for a minute, Michael.
Well, I think we maybe have a poor connection. I want to applaud you and just say that October 23 and 24, everybody needs to be on stage with you in Dallas. Laura Butler and everybody at the Best Jew Legacy Club is talking about Bernardo and the Best Jew coming to Dallas. So thanks for having me on, Bernardo. And
No,
I'm going to be safe on the highway.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here, Michael. So everyone, thank you. Basically, we're gonna. Well, I've already got another meeting. I'm going to be. Eric Zuli is going to be joining me very shortly. Eric Zuli and friends. And look, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to be carry on sharing ideas. There's a lot of announcements. Yes, what Michael was saying about the Best Jew Expo. We're going to be in Dallas on the 23rd and 24th of October. There's quite a lot of speakers that are already committed there. I can't wait to see you. And yes, we're going to be, some of you, I think Chaddy is asking, yes, we're going to be August the 7th and 8th. We're going to be at the Best Jew Expo in LA. That's the dates that we've postponed the event to. But I'm going, and I'm going to be coming back. So thank you so much. I'll be here with Eric Zuli and friends in a few minutes. Thank you so much.